I've never started one of my lives with the giggles before. You're, I'm, I'm laughing because you're seeing the like remnants of the death of Christmas behind me. And I was just wondering if this is going to be here until middle of June. You're always going to see these dead Christmas trees behind. But no, it'll get taken care of. Hello, all. Welcome to those who are joining and those of you who are watching the replay. Hopefully, I won't be giggling the whole time. Maybe I will. Maybe that's okay. I feel a little bit exposed today. I started writing these sensual erotic scenes in my Instagram stories. So for those of you who follow, you may have started seeing those as of last night. And it's like another level of visibility for me to be sharing these, what's inside my head, what's going on in that sexy brain of mine, and putting it out into my stories. So feel free to go write that. So I'm dripping it out, essentially, very slowly, dripping out scene by scene by scene. I don't know what's going to happen next, a little bit, to keep it exciting and really fun. So today I'm going to share with you a process that I love to do for myself and for folks in calling in the relationship that they want, that they really desire. So for a lot of us, relationships have shifted over the last couple of years, and I've really examined and discovered by speaking with a lot of friends and clients and all this kind of thing that this past year, for those of us who've made big shifts along the relationship front, has been about experimentation and really doing things a little bit differently to discover what we want and what is the next thing for us. I held a talk with the Sexy Valencia community that I run here in Valencia, Spain, and we had a beautiful conversation about the future of relationships and what does that look like. And everyone present had a completely different viewpoint. A lot of it converged, but the people were in different places. Not everyone, of course, people who will join this type of conversation will tend to be a bit more experimental. So you had a lot of viewpoints about more openness, more sharing, more community-like energy. But there were still some very traditional monogamous relationship interests that were just looking for what else is out there. What are people thinking about right now, and wanted to share in their perspective and what their desires were. So we're going to open that up today. And to do that, I'm going to invite you to ditch the cultural norm that a relationship is meant to be one man, one woman, a dog, two cars in a household. Now, this is not to say that committed monogamous relationship is wrong. It's just I'd like you to release that this is the massive influence so that you can make that choice from a more free and empowered place. And if you, after all these steps and the workshop that I'm going to propose, come back to this place that yes, a committed monogamous relationship is your value. There are a lot of things in that I value for myself as well, not everything. But that's fabulous, because then it's not coming just from having learnt this from our culture, learnt it from our society, learnt it from what's been going on in our lives and what we learned from our parents. It's really from your own choice. And I think this is what I really want to emphasize in this, is to open up the possibilities that exist out there. Because I've been hearing so many different things from people about their interests, those coming out of monogamous relationships who don't desire to get back into one, or they do, but just shaping it a little differently, and how okay that is, right? To just be like, I like this, but I don't like this. And that's so cool to desire and to experiment with. So some examples for that are, for example, monogamous relationship, but living in different households. This exists. It's totally cool. Some people want to be in a committed partnership, but they don't want to merge finances, merge daily lives, merge everything. They want to keep some sense of independence, and that's one way to go about it. You can think of relationships that involve more than one person, triads, quads, where everything is merged in one household, but you have more than a couple. It's 3 people. It adds to the benefits, it adds to the complications as well, but it's an option, right? It does exist out there. There are relationships, especially where there's either kink or interests in BDSM, where you can have your primary romantic relationship or none at all, and all you have is a subdom or kinky arrangement, right? And sometimes you can have your existing relationship, romantic or a sexual relationship, and seek externally to have those needs fulfilled if it's not possible with the primary. Also possible. So many things are possible. And now what I was envisioning when I spoke at my meeting this weekend is that so many people are seeking community, this essence of community. And this started even before COVID, before the pandemic, where I was starting to see this in myself and recognizing it in my friends as well, is that we're realizing that it takes a village, you know the expression, to raise children, to finance relationships and households and all of that kind of thing. And I feel like people are starting to really refine down to what they desire specifically, so maybe outside of the monogamous typical or family setting, and are being creative. And I think we're going to see more and more of that. Communities getting together, households maybe with more than one family unit to help each other with the raising of the children, with the financial aspect, because the structures that are in place right now are not enough to fulfill that. They're not helpful enough to be able to support the mothers who are working, the fathers who are working and raising children and doing projects and being creative and da, 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 da. So I think we're going to see a lot of that community combination of relationships that may not look like they always have, kind of moving back in a way to some of our original ways of being. Cool. So I think it would be a great time, if you want to participate in these 5 steps, to go get a pen and a paper, or you can type it in your computer, or you can write it in a journal as you wish. So I'm going to give you just a few seconds here to go and grab that. What I'm going to do is share with you the 5 steps right away. So the last time I did this around just magnetizing our desires, I gave you space to answer the questions and time, but I'm not going to do this time because it really, when I do this process, this 5-step process, it can take me a whole day, and I want to give you that time. So I'm just going to give you all the questions that you can write down, and then for you to do this in your own time. You can begin right away with the first one, and then let yourself really sink into this process. I started it this morning for myself, and it's really lovely. Cool, so I'm gonna assume that you've gotten your pen and paper. If you're watching the replay, then just pause and go ahead and get it if you need to. And so let's just, from the beginning, get rid of this aspect that it's only a couple, man and woman, that is the norm, and open up our possibilities to whatever you really want. And that's the first question. So you can write down in your journal, what do you really want? What do I really fucking want? What do I desire? And when you answer this question, go deep. Think about the types of things in relationship that you would never tell even your friends, that it makes you like shy to think, can I ask for that? I had one of these, I have a very tight-knit group. We call ourselves the WOW group in Valencia. And I shared a desire to have a triad with 2 men. And it feels good to have the type of community where I can speak those types of words. But that is, it seems greedy. There's so much that comes around even saying that and even asking that, right? That sounds so big and complicated and all the things that comes around it. But it's a possibility. It's out there. So in this first question, when you write down, what do I really want? That's the type of thing that would go there. Do I want to live in a community? Do I want something that feels supportive? Do I want, if there's kinks involved, somebody that matches my kinks that can really hold that space for this? Anything that comes to mind. And here you don't need to worry about the challenges of achieving that. Just trust that, look at it as if you've already achieved it. So when you're writing down your desires, assume that everything has gone well to go there and everything is going perfect. The getting from A to B is not our business, just the desire right now, okay? So once you have an idea and you've painted a few pictures of what you really desire, what you really want, is it really sexual? Is it passionate? Is it really loving and tender? Whatever it is, whatever it's your style. The second question that you can write down in your journal is, what would my life look like if I had that? What would change? If my desire came to fruition, if it came to life, if it came into reality, how would I change? What would be different? How would I feel? What would my days look and feel like? How sexy would I be? If I had the perfect relationships that I desire. One of the reasons that I'm speaking about relationships in this first quarter and how I tie that into really tapping into our erotic and sexy confidence is how much impact relationships have on our daily life, right? Especially for those of us who have gone through the end of a long-term relationship, how difficult it is, how draining it can be, and how much it impacts things like running a business, around having your friendships, around how you show up in all your creativity and all the different parts of your life. And when you have a really good, especially in the beginning, like crushes and good sensations in the body, a lot of sexual energy, aliveness, your creativity goes, it's like up out the roof, your genius comes out. It's like life is in color, right? And so it really impacts our ability to step into our sexy confidence, to have relationships that really work for us. So we're going to the foundation here by getting those clear and from a rooted place. So the third question that you're going to write down in your journal or on your paper is to brainstorm 20 words that really reflect how you want to feel by having these relationships and these experiences. So this is like just brain dump words that represent how you want to feel. Supported, alive, trust, whatever that looks like. Just go, write a whole bunch of words on your paper. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And then once you've done that, around 20 words, maybe more, maybe less, depends on what comes out, choose 3 to 5 that when you read it out loud, your whole body vibrates with it. It's like, oh, can I actually feel that? Am I allowed to feel that? Is that okay? Can I ask for that? Those are the ones you really want to step in, because that means it's your edge. It's like the next step for you. So pay attention in this case to some of the words that have repeated in your questions 1 and 2. You may have said the word alive or seductive or whatever more than once, and that means that that's really coming up for you right now. Pay attention to that. Is that a word that really and light awakens you and brings you a lot of life? Those are the words that you want to keep. So once you have gotten down to 3 to 5 words that you really like, your fourth step, which you can write down in your journal, is to plaster that shit everywhere. So that means use it in your passwords, put it on Post-it notes. I tend to create little Canva images, and I put it in everything. So I'll share it on my social media. I will talk about it. I will remember them for myself and bring them up on my screen to remember, this is what I want. Because it just realigns you throughout the whole year that this is what you want to experience. And I've found that when I do this, by the end of the year, I've really stepped into that. So it's less important here, the exact shape or form, like a triad or whatever. That was just to expand your mind into the possibilities. What we're focusing on here is how you're going to feel in those, because we can have goals, right? I could say I want to make $1 million in the next 2 years, but do I want to feel completely dead and drained and sick as a process? No. I want to feel energized by my work. I want to feel this and that, right? So the feeling is more important than the goal in and of itself right now at this stage. So you've got your 3 to 5 words. You're now plastering it absolutely everywhere in your life so that they're constant reminders of this, of what you want in relationship. The last piece is, of course, taking action. So it could be a small step, it could be a big step, depends on how you're doing in your body right now. What action could you take to move towards that today? An action that you can start right away that would allow you to start stepping into these words and that path to feeling those exact experiences around relationship that you've chosen that really light you up. Yeah, so that's the last step, is to really start stepping into taking those actions that are aligned with what you've chosen, with what you desire. So those are the 5 steps. And this is like a beginning, like I'd say it's like planting the seeds for the growth of what you want in the next year with these words. And I've got a workshop coming up on the 29th called Creatrix that you can join, and this will take you even deeper. So this workshop will, especially if you've done this practice today with me, if you've completed it and you take that with you, it will be a huge foundation, because this Creatrix workshop will allow you to design your most authentic erotic experience. So what we're going to do in the workshop is we're going to take apart some of these questions, and you're going to allow yourself to envision and bring into your body the experience of your most authentic, so really the most true to you, to your beliefs, to your values, to what you care about in the world, and bring that into an erotic experience that speaks to what you're calling in your relationships. So it's going to be a really sexy workshop for everyone. You'll get to do some writing, you'll do some visioning, and this is like my little, Trojan horse, because I love to slip in these little tantric practices in these workshops. And this one is going to be sex magic. So sex magic is one of my most potent tools. It's one of the things that has brought me the most transformation. When I do this practice, things happen very, very quickly. My friends have seen this happen in the last few months, where I'm like, okay, I told you, this is not a joke. We have to take this, it's a tantric practice. We have to take it seriously. And I'm going to teach you how to do it in this workshop as well. So feel free to go sign up for that in my bio link. It's on the 29th. I want to see at least 10 of you there, because it's going to be tremendous. It's going to be sexy. It's going to bring aliveness, and you will be well on your way. You're really going to be not just deciding, but this sex magic practice takes away some of the barriers to stepping into those desires. So we all, when we have something we want, have resistance, or subconscious parts of us that are doing saying the yes, 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 but at the same time, no, 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 because it's a little scary. This breaks that down. So this is why it's so powerful. It's that it starts breaking down the resistance and tells your brain that actually this thing that we want is not associated with something dangerous or scary or unknown. It's associated with something really pleasurable, which is going to happen on the workshop. Cool. So this is for all orientations, all genders. You can come as a couple. I can actually offer a couples option for the sex magic practice, which is great. And it will be a Zoom call. So hope to see you all there. I will return next week, same time, with another practice. Not sure what it is yet. And please feel free to ask any questions in a DM or in the comments to let me know that you enjoyed this, because then I know what else I can pop in and share with you. Cool. And don't forget to come read those sexy stories that are happening in my Instagram stories, because they're hot and they're so awesome. And I'm loving this. Okay. Perfect. I will see you next week. And I'm looking forward to what is going to rise out of all of this. It's so great. Ciao.